Hello everyone, today I'll be showing you how you can self-host WordPress on an Ubuntu 24 server using a single installation script. I'll be following my article on opensourcehustle.com and I'll have the link to that article in the description. The installation script will be utilizing Docker Compose to create the necessary containers, volumes and configurations. There'll be 4 containers that will be created: a WordPress container for our application, mysql container for the database, nginx for the web server, and we'll be using cerbot to generate free Let's Encrypt certificates. As for the prerequisites, you'll need to have an Ubuntu server. I'm using Ubuntu version 24. You need to have a domain name pointing to that server. In my case, I created a subdomain called tutorial.opensourcehustle.com that is pointing to my server using an A record. You need to install Docker and Docker Compose. You need to make sure that ports 80 and 443 are open on the server. And finally, make sure that you have root or sudo access. So now I'm gonna access my newly created server using SSH. And I'm gonna make sure that I have the prerequisites ready before starting. Firstly, I'm gonna install Docker by following the link in the article, and I'm going to install it using apt. In the official Docker documentation, let's add the repository. Next, let's install Docker and Docker Compose. Now if I run docker ps, we can see that the Docker command is working. Next, we are going to make sure that the firewall is allowing traffic over ports 80 and 443. So let's check the status of UFW. UFW is enabled by default on Ubuntu. Let's allow traffic from HTTP and HTTPS. By running UFW allow HTTP, then UFW allow HTTPS. Let's check the status, and we can see that traffic through ports 80 and 443 are allowed. Now we can start with the project setup. Now we can clone my GitHub repository, which contains all the necessary components. Let's enter the repository and list its contents. Let's quickly go over the contents of this repository. The docker compose.yaml file contains all the containers that we are going to be creating in this project and their volumes. .env.example contains the environment variables that we'll be using in this project. Setup.sh contains the script that will set up our containers, configure nginx initially over HTTP, then it will generate certificates and configure nginx over HTTPS. Both theme and plugins directories are created when we run the setup.sh, and these are volumes that are linked with the WordPress container. This will allow us to add our own custom themes and plugins to these directories. The nginx directory contains all the nginx configurations for both HTTP initially, then HTTPS, and renewal.sh contains our renewal script using cerbot, which we will add to a cron job for automatic renewals. Now, before running the script, we'll need to do a few things. First, we'll need to copy the env.example file into .env, then modify the environment variables. And I'm going to update the domain. In my case, this is tutorial.opensourcehustle.com. And I'm going to update the SSL email and save the file. Next, to run the setup.sh, I'm going to make it executable by running the following command. And now I can run the setup.sh. I won't be using sudo as I am the root user. At the moment, it's pulling the images and creating the necessary containers and volumes. Now it's waiting for us to press enter to generate the certificates. Make sure that your domain is pointing to the server and that ports 80 and 443 are open. We have done so let's click enter. Now it's pulling the cerbot container and running it, requesting certificates for tutorial.opensourcehustle.com, and we can see that the certificates were retrieved successfully. And that's basically it. Now, if we visit the domain, we should see the default WordPress installation page. Let's install WordPress, log in. I'm gonna go to permalinks, change the structure to post name, save changes. I'm gonna go to appearance and themes. We can see that there is 3 themes here. If I list the contents and go to themes and list, we can see that the 3 themes are here as well. So this will allow us to add our custom themes or plugins by using these volumes. Let's actually do so. I'm going to open FileZilla and upload a custom theme file. I'm going to connect. I'm going to go to the WordPress full Docker setup, go to themes, and I'm going to upload here my custom theme. Now with the theme uploaded, let's refresh the theme page, and now we can see the new theme. Let's activate it. Now let's visit the website, and as you can see, my custom theme has been activated. Now let's configure the cron job for certificate renewals. I'm going to go back where the renewal.sh script is. Next, we are going to make the renewal.sh script executable. I'm going to print the working directory. Next, I'm going to access the cron tab. If you're using a regular user, make sure you run sudo cron tab. And here at the end, I'm going to add the cron job. Make sure this is the complete path to your renewal.sh script. In my case, it is root dash WordPress full Docker setup, and I'm going to save this. This will run the renewal script twice a day, and if the certificate is getting close to expiry, it will renew the certificates, as well as reload nginx. So that's it with this tutorial. Feel free to explore the repository, which contains more details. I'd recommend also exploring the setup script, which is less than 100 lines of code, to understand in more details how this script works. I hope you found this useful, and thank you for watching.